I was lucky because I did stumble into the fact my dad had a small brokerage firm, and I would go down on Saturday morning and to go to lunch with him, and it was a big deal. But in the morning when he worked, I would read the books there, and so I found it very early. And not everybody does that. That's just plain luck when that.
Warren Buffett, the man who turned a childhood obsession with numbers into one of the greatest financial empires the world has ever seen, worth over $130 billion. But behind the numbers, behind the headlines calling him the Oracle of Omaha, lies a story that's far more fascinating than just stock market success. This is the untold wealth story of Warren Buffett, a journey that redefines what it truly means to be rich. Born in 1930 in Omaha, Nebraska, Warren wasn't born into luxury. His father, Howard Buffett, was a stockbroker turned politician, and his mother, Layla, was known for running a tight household during the Great Depression. Times were tough. Some nights the family skipped meals to save money. Yet even in hardship, young Warren showed signs of a mind that saw the world differently. At age 6, while other kids were playing marbles, he was selling chewing gum, newspapers, and Coca-Cola door to door.
And I got about half the capital I started with by delivering papers. And I always liked it because I could.
At 11, he bought his first stock, 3 shares of Citi's Service Preferred at $38 each. The stock fell to $27, then rose to $40, and Warren sold it for a tiny profit. But soon after, it climbed to over $200. That single moment burned a lifelong lesson into his brain. Patience pays. Buffett wasn't a typical teenager either. While his classmates dreamed of cars and dates, he read financial reports for fun and memorized stock prices from the newspaper. At 16, he'd already made the equivalent of thousands of dollars by running paper routes, selling golf balls, and operating pinball machines in barbershops. He even bought 40 acres of farmland with his earnings before he graduated high school. By the time most people were still figuring out their college major, Warren Buffett had already figured out how to make money work for him. He went to the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania, but later transferred to the University of Nebraska, finishing his degree at lightning speed. Then came a turning point. Harvard rejected him. For many, that would have been a devastating blow. But Buffett being Buffett, he looked elsewhere and found something better. Columbia Business School, where he met Benjamin Graham, the legendary author of The Intelligent Investor. Graham's philosophy of value investing, buying undervalued companies with strong fundamentals, hit Buffett like a thunderbolt. This wasn't gambling on Wall Street's moods. It was about discipline, logic, and waiting for the right pitch, much like baseball. Graham became his mentor, and Buffett absorbed every word.
I told students, if when they got out of school, they got a punch card with 20 punches on it, and that's all the investment decisions they got to make in their entire life, they would get very rich because they would think very hard about each one. And you don't need 20 right decisions to get very rich. 4 or 5 will probably do it.
After graduating, Buffett wanted nothing more than to work for Graham. He offered to work for free, but Graham said no. Instead of giving up, Warren returned to Omaha and began applying Graham's principles on his own. He worked as a stockbroker, started small partnerships, and relentlessly hunted for undervalued gems. By the age of 26, he'd saved nearly $174,000, worth over $2 million today. That's when he started his own investment partnership, Buffett Associates, in 1956. Buffett's genius lay not in chasing trends, but in spotting hidden value. He didn't care what was popular, he cared what was profitable. While others rushed toward shiny, fast-growing companies, Buffett bought the dull ones that quietly minted money. He studied financial statements the way detectives study clues. When he invested, he didn't just buy stocks, he bought businesses, with the mindset of owning them forever. In 1962, Buffett discovered a struggling textile company called Berkshire Hathaway. It was cheap, too cheap to ignore. He bought shares as a value play. But after a dispute with management, Buffett ended up taking control of the entire company. Most people thought he'd lost his mind investing in dyeing textiles. But that's where Buffett's brilliance unfolded. He slowly transformed Berkshire from a failing textile business into a holding company, a vehicle to buy entire businesses. It became his masterpiece. Instead of chasing short-term gains, Buffett used Berkshire to acquire companies that had strong, simple, and enduring business models. Think of GEICO, Dairy Queen, See's Candies, Benjamin Moore, and later, massive stakes in Coca-Cola, American Express, and Apple. He didn't just invest, he partnered with greatness. His philosophy was simple, yet revolutionary. Find businesses you understand, led by honest and capable people, and buy them at a fair price. Then, never sell. While the world jumped from one bubble to another, Buffett stayed steady. During the tech boom, he was mocked for not investing in the internet. Yet, when the bubble burst in 2000, Berkshire stood strong. During the 2008 financial crisis, when Wall Street was burning, Buffett was the firefighter. He injected billions into companies like Goldman Sachs, General Electric, and Bank of America, not out of charity, but because he knew value hides in panic. Those investments turned into billions in profit later. Buffett once said, "Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful," and he lived by it. But the untold side of his wealth isn't just in his investments, it's in his mindset. Buffett never measured wealth by material things. He still lives in the same modest Omaha house he bought in 1958 for $31,500. He drives a regular car, eats breakfast at McDonald's, and drinks Coca-Cola like it's gourmet wine. His daily routine is shockingly simple, yet his mind is razor sharp. He spends about 80% of his day reading. To him, knowledge compounds faster than money ever can. That's the real secret, not trading, but thinking.
Can you tell us a little bit about your typical workday and how you manage your time?
You'd be surprised at my days. I mean, they're very unstructured. No meetings, none. I mean, I don't like meetings, and I read a lot. I wish I were a faster reader. I'd get more done. But I do read a lot, and I'm on the phone a moderate amount. Our businesses run themselves basically out there. My job is allocating capital, and that's what I'm thinking about. But I don't like to have things all packed hour to hour to hour. And Bill and I are both extraordinarily lucky. I mean, we really get to do what we like to do, the way we want to do it, with people that we choose to be around, and they're terrific. I mean, we've really got everything.
Buffett's fortune, of course, is enormous, over $130 billion as of recent years. But his relationship with money is almost paradoxical. He's pledged to give away 99% of his wealth to charity, mainly through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and his own philanthropic initiatives. He believes in creating wealth to serve humanity, not to drown in luxury. His giving philosophy inspired the Giving Pledge, a movement that's now joined by hundreds of billionaires around the world. Yet Buffett remains grounded, even self-deprecating. He jokes that his kids won't inherit billions, just enough to do anything, but not enough to do nothing. What truly makes Buffett's story remarkable isn't how much he made, but how he made it. Unlike many billionaires who built empires overnight, Buffett's wealth was a marathon, not a sprint.
You don't need And if it's down, they feel worse. I feel better.
More than 99% of his fortune came after his 50th birthday. That's the power of compounding, the quiet force that turns small, consistent effort into unimaginable success. Buffett turned patience into profit and made long-term thinking cool again, in a world obsessed with instant gratification. But his path wasn't without mistakes. Buffett admits his biggest errors were often not buying enough of a good thing or holding on to bad businesses for too long. He calls them mistakes of omission, the deals he didn't make that could have made him even richer. Yet what sets him apart is his ability to learn and move on. Every loss became a lesson, and every lesson became an edge. Behind the scenes, there's also the human side of Buffett. deeply loyal, humorous, and humble. His longtime partner, Charlie Munger, who passed away recently, was more than a business ally. He was the philosophical counterpart to Buffett's discipline. Together, they built Berkshire Hathaway's empire on wit, wisdom, and a mutual refusal to be swayed by hype. Their annual shareholder meetings in Omaha, often called the Woodstock for capitalists, attract thousands of fans every year just to hear them talk about life, money, and integrity. For many, Buffett's letters to shareholders are financial scripture, filled with timeless lessons wrapped in humor and plain English. Beyond business, Buffett's life is built on emotional stability, something he considers more important than IQ. He once said, "The most important investment you can make is in yourself." To him, wealth without peace of mind is failure. He never chased luxury jets or private islands. He chased understanding. He reads history, psychology, and economics not to predict the future, but to recognize patterns that others miss. His genius lies not in predicting the market, but in staying calm while everyone else loses theirs.
What's in your wallet right now?
I'd say about probably $400 or $500.
$400 or $500
Something like that,
in
yeah.
cash.
Yeah,
Is that what you're always carrying?
I generally carry something like that.
In
yeah.
20s or 50s or hundreds?
Well, I've got a few hundred.
I want to see. Let's see.
You want to see? Okay,
Yes,
sure.
I do.
Yeah, well, most women do. You're not unusual. What have I got? I've got 5 100s.
5 100s.
Yeah, and then some.
All right, a 10, a couple ones, some
yeah,
fives.
this is-
You're ready to tip and you're ready to dine out
sure.
and have a big night out on the
This-
town
yeah,
tonight.
this is pretty standard.
His friendship with Bill Gates also offers a glimpse into his character. When they first met, Gates assumed Buffett would be another hard-nosed businessman. Instead, he found someone deeply curious about the world, someone who could spend hours discussing probability, history, and human behavior. As the decades passed, Buffett's wisdom grew even more valuable than his portfolio. In an age of cryptocurrencies, social media hype, and get-rich-quick schemes, Buffett's slow and steady philosophy feels almost rebellious. Yet, the numbers prove him right. Berkshire Hathaway's growth has outpaced nearly every major fund in history. His shareholders didn't just make money, they learned how to think like owners. Even now, well into his 90s, Buffett continues to lead Berkshire Hathaway with the same energy and curiosity he had as a young man. His mind is as sharp as ever, his humor intact, and his values unwavering. Warren Buffett's untold wealth story isn't about the billions in his bank account. It's about the rare kind of wealth that money can't measure, the wealth of patience, integrity, knowledge, and purpose. He mastered not just finance, but life itself. In a world that moves faster every day, Buffett stands as a quiet reminder that the greatest returns come to those who wait, think, and believe in the power of time. And that's the untold wealth story of Warren Buffett, a man who became one of the richest people on earth by never being in a hurry to get rich. And now, I want to hear from you. Do you think Warren Buffett's slow and steady approach still works in today's world of instant profits and digital trading? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more videos.